Welcome back. I'm Tedward, and today, thanks to Bond Group in Waltham, Massachusetts, on this beautiful summer day, we have the pleasure of driving this 1968 Mercedes-Benz 280SE convertible. If it looks familiar, it's probably because you're a fan of The Hangover, and in The Hangover they used pretty much the same car, except theirs was a 65 220 SE. These cars are so timeless, and this is when I think Mercedes-Benz was at their absolute peak. Now, this is a pre-S-Class S-Class, essentially, so what you've got to think of this as is a two-door S-Class 5-seat convertible, which is just insane. This is a two-owner car. It lived most of its life in San Francisco in the Bay Area, and it's just come out here and had about $20,000 worth of work. Now, most of it's simply mechanical because this car only has 18 or 19,000 miles on it, so, you know, things get a little leaky. So she's been resealed, got brand new struts. This thing should be a peach to drive, and I can't wait. So, what's under the hood? We've got an inline six. It's 2.8 liters. It's connected to a 4-speed automatic gearbox, which is absolutely charming, and it drives the rear wheels. A few years later, in 1972, that's when the real expensive ones start to happen. You get the 3.5-liter V8. So while this one may go for somewhere in the realm of $175,000, maybe, give or take, not fully sure, a properly sorted, pristine 3.5-liter V8 might go for about $600,000, just to give you an idea. So the coolest thing about this is you basically get a bargain on the same body, the same chassis. Everything's great. This is a W111, and it might be my favorite Mercedes right now. Let me show you around inside. It's got all kinds of fun tech. You've got power windows, and my goodness, these windows are bonkers. Let me show you what these look like. They have the craziest frames. So first, let's put the rears up. Look at that. That's the stuff. We love this. And look how they seal. You've got, this is open and it goes right along here. Oh, it's gorgeous. And the top underneath this tonneau is just a behemoth. It's huge, and it comes out all the way over here. And then you still have a nice comfy and cushy place to be, even though it's a convertible. So this should seal up nice and tight. And it was repainted in the 80s, and Rick D'Onofrio Custom Painting in San Francisco did the job. It's funny, they put a little Ferrari Cavallino here, but it's painted. This is not a sticker. So they actually really took pride in their work. We'll put these back down. That's pretty satisfying. And you'll also notice this has a big old antenna up front, and that retracts. So one of the best things about this car is you've got this Becker Mexico TR, and this is a 3/4 DIN radio. A lot of folks, because they wanted the cassette deck, replaced this with a full DIN, and they cut the wood out of the dashboard to fit the larger radio. So it's really rare to find one of these. But look at this, it actually seeks for radio stations. So you can hit this.
Efficient savings.
I mean, I know that seems like, oh, of course, cars do that, but this is all analog, mechanical stuff. And then when we knock it off, an industrial motor retracts that antenna. All right. In this beautiful wood glove box, there should be a little light there. Maybe you got to get yourself a new bulb if you bought this. I think this is an ashtray. Yes. I always feel like so scared to pull things hard. But you know what? The Mercedes stuff in this time period is really robust, so I'm not too afraid. Beautiful wood up on this dashboard surrounding the A-pillars, and all around here with our very familiar and wonderful gauge cluster. You've got the Coolmeister, which is our air conditioner, and nice big old armrests for the folks up front. Down here, there is a switch on the floor, and normally that would be high beams in like an American car. But watch this. When we hit this, that's your windshield wipers, and it squirts. That's the little squirt guy. Oh my God, it's so cool. I love it. closes like a bank vault. Let's take a look in the rear. Oh, okay. The front and rear of this car with the chrome bumpers and the double tier bumpers. Look at this. This is the coolest thing. You've got bumpers up top and down bottom. They look fantastic. You've got these little bash bars here, which are wonderful. And here's the deal. The reason why we've got these plates on is because these are real authentic plates from the 1960s. This is not some recreation thing, the new fad in California, which they look fantastic. I'm glad they're doing it. But these are authentic, real plates from the 1960s, and that's very cool. It shows the lineage and pedigree. Gorgeous chrome tips extending past that bumper, and then enormous space back here. Plenty of room for activities and a spare tire. Hopefully not from the 1960s, but we do have a white wall. No, it looks a little more modern than that. To fill it, let's see. Pop this guy down, and there is your filler. Oof, always tricky to do that gently. And over here, you've got a toolkit, and this toolkit actually mounts right in there because this breaker bar actually straps into the toolkit bag, and then that slips in there. Very cool stuff. But let's take a look under the hood because this inline six is a thing of beauty. But first, we'll be nice stewards of the vehicle and clean up any of this excess drippings from our test of the windshield washer fluid. Very nice. Okay, we're good. Let's get under this hood, and over here, this is how you do it. There's a little tab, I'll show you. Pull this forward and then up, and it's really easy to put up because we're on these garage door springs on both sides, which I love. And there's our massive, well, 2.8 liter Mercedes inline six. It looks big, it looks menacing, and it's the kind of thing where you see this engine and you just picture it in like a 300 SL. A brand new AC, look at the size of that. That's nice and shiny, but everything else looks really clean and proper. It looks the way it's supposed to look. Over here, you've got your little washer dispenser for the windshield. And gluing us to the road up front on a 14-inch wheel is a 205 section tire with 70 aspect ratio sidewalls. So we've got brand new struts, but it's always nice to have a little sidewall to take care of some of the imperfections. So let's close this up. Man, this repaint actually, from the 1980s, held up pretty darn good. To start the old girl, we've got our key and our ignition over here. Foot on brake. It jumps to life real quickly. And oh my goodness, safety from the 1960s. We have a shoulder belt. Yes, I like that. Despite the fact that if we roll over in this car, it is not going to go well. To put it in gear, we have a column shifter. You can see our gear selector on the VDO gauge down there. There's reverse, you pull back, and then I don't have to pull anymore. I can just go neutral and then into fourth. And there we are. Oh, I guess that parking brake isn't the best thing in the world, but it was working for us. Put that back down. Usually these are pretty strong on the torque converters in drive, so not surprised it's still inched forward. Ultra light steering. This is luxury motoring even today. A little ka-thunk into second gear. That's how you know it's a Mercedes-Benz. People like it. The nose just goes forever. There's a lot of real estate up there, man. Get a little acceleration run. pretty quick. This thing moves. It sure shifted itself on the first shift, but my goodness, once it's going, it's going. This is no joke. The steering wheel's offset just a little bit to the right. Let's see if I can put these windows up. See how insulated this cabin gets. Oh, barely any wind noise whatsoever. This is it. Oh my goodness, I'm in love. You know, I've always been a big fan of Luxo barge convertibles, which is why I love the old early 2000s Bentley Azure so much. This is an Azure before the Azure. I mean, I guess there were convertible Bentleys then too, but still, in my sort of timeline of things driven, that reminds me of this. And I am just so grateful to be able to drive things like this. I mean, I'm sure a gull-wing Mercedes is more apt for the channel and things that people are going to say, wow, I want to know what that's like to drive. But for me, if I had to just kind of drive something every day, it's incredible how wonderful a car like this still is in 2024. Oh, these brakes feel fantastic too. I'm sure the new Bilsteins have done wonders for its handling. It feels great, feels composed. It just, you know, this is when you start to think Mercedes-Benz was really ahead of their time. And when you drive a 300 SL Gullwing, it's very apparent they were ahead of the competition. It's like they had a time machine and they knew how to build cars way, way, way before anyone else figured it out. And you get into some of these cars, this is still a headliner. You know, this is a pre-S-Class, S-Class. It matters. This is a big deal. And you very much get the sensation that they had figured it all out. I love the sound of this smooth inline 6, and while a V8 would be cool, I'm not complaining. I'm having a lovely time. It's about 160 horsepower. If you opt for the far more expensive V8, you get 200. So, you know, it's not that big a difference. There's still plenty of low-end torque in this car. And frankly, I doubt you're doing cross-country motoring in it, so putting around town in your convertible 280 is probably going to be very comfortable with the 6. It also just makes people smile. I think people see this car and it has kind of like a cheery old school feel. It's like something that would be in that show Palm Royale with Kristen Wiig. It's just of an era, and it's oddly somehow unpretentious. I think when you take the roof off of it, it softens the blow a little bit about what kind of air it gives off. Really an underhanded driving experience, and these brakes are great. Thank you to these brakes, because you know, sometimes you drive classic cars and you get up to normal speeds, 40, 50 miles an hour, and then suddenly you got to bring it back down to a halt. Not all classics feel this good. Sometimes we drive cars with drum brakes that feel like they've got Brillo pads on wood, and yet this nice disc brakes, it's going to be as usable as it is beautiful. It's a tough mix, and that's why classic Mercedes like this really work in the modern classic market. at how long this blinker stock is. That directional is like a foot. It's solid. It's imposing, but it's narrow. It's easy to navigate, and the turning radius is phenomenal. So you can kind of get it everywhere. And obviously, you got to find spaces long enough for it, but parallel parking, as long as you've got a little bit of room, is going to be a breeze with this steering. See what handles this bump. I think this car is every bit as luxurious in 2024 as it was in 1968. This is bananas. I can already hear the comments about, oh, you didn't hit the kick down switch at the end of the pedal. So on this acceleration, we'll just go wide open with the kick down switch. Beautiful E39 coming up. We love to see it. Plenty fast. She'll do the job. And there we go. Beautiful day for some old-fashioned classic motoring. Those are those moments where you realize there's no mirror for the passenger side. But if you're doing it right, you've got this top down all the time. People always take that. You're not supposed to do that. So I am gonna mosey my way back to Bond Group on this beautiful summer day. We've entered July. I'm thrilled. This is my weather. I like it. And this is the perfect car, man. I want one. I wish it wasn't so expensive. I wish this had depreciated like rocks, like every other S-Class in the world. But unfortunately, they were good back then, and people know it now. So you'll not be getting this for cheap money, but relative to its V8 sibling, this is a bargain. So if you're hunting for it, you want this one, I highly recommend it. Low miles, but not crazy. So under 19,000 miles. Just had a big old service with about 20 grand worth of work. Interior is in immaculate condition, looks fantastic. It's a real driver, and you'll be able to show it off. People will go nuts over it. And no one in 2024 is gonna give you a hard time about this inline six, unless you're at a Mercedes concourse event, in which case they'll still appreciate this. So that'll do it. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing, and of course for appreciating classics. You know, this isn't the latest and greatest, newest thing that you're showing to everybody that you're gonna go buy. No, this is for a connoisseur, and I appreciate the connoisseurs of the channel who know about cars like this, and those who absolutely know nothing about cars like this and are maybe getting exposed to what they are like to drive instead of just seeing them in a magazine or a poster, or static at a car show. This is what it's like to drive. It's actually very, very, very good. No joke. This is the real deal. Mercedes, always ahead of their time. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one.